Howdy y'all, it's me, Scott Grove, Dr. Groovy from GroovyMusicLessons.com. Some people are like, how come you have to keep saying the same intro all the time? What's this Dr. Groovy thing? That's because, you know, new people come here every now and then. One of my friends here online just said, hey, start calling yourself Dr. Groovy. So I did. That's all it takes for me to do most things. Hey, yeah, yesterday I had, some more of the Groovy emails, or not emails, just responses to videos that I usually delete these days. I used to write them back in the day, but I've learned to control myself. I have meds. But yeah, everybody said, hey, I'm going to kill Rosie and your grandkids and your kids, and, make sure they mentioned everybody by name. But here's the, I'll get to the review shortly, and I say review like that because I want to tell you something about my reviews here in a second. This one's from Kevin James. Yes, of course I blocked him and whatever. Groovy Music Lessons. You lie. Oh, it was on just the speaker stand, pole mount from yesterday. See, you lie about not wanting and trying to be famous. No, I don't. I played with lots of famous people, and that's just because it happened. I myself never wanted to be famous. It is so obvious a first-year psych student could see that. LOL. The thing is, you failed. No, I did great. And you failed because you weren't good at looking enough. Hey, there's a few hundred women out there that will disagree with you. Yeah, I do that. I did the Gene Simmons thing and the Wilt Chamberlain. Yeah, 25,000 women. No. Okay, so this homo, which there's nothing wrong with that. I have to say that right now. I wasn't good looking enough, or a good and inventive enough a player. So he's either a total retard or just not from this country. See, to boot, and the kicker is you couldn't write a song for crap. I've written some amazing songs. How do you think I got so many things accomplished? There's long stories and they're on here about that. Sick of your delusional lies and your narcissistic nobody whatever, and then it goes on to say, I'm going to kill you and kill everybody else. So, once again, thanks to Kevin James. Appreciate you, buddy. And, okay, when I get to these things, and when I'm talking about guitars and all this stuff, some people just don't get what a review is. Okay, back in the old days, there were these things, they were called magazines, like Guitar Player and, these kind of things. Guitar World, Guitar whatever, Drummers Blow, and whatever magazines you could find. And they put reviews in there because they couldn't do actual demos because you couldn't hear them on the paper. Some people do demos. I like to do reviews. I'm into what the things are about, the history of them, what they're made of, what they do. I pride myself in, again, the history of everything. I could give a rat's ass what it sounds like for the most part. That can always be changed. But I'm here to show you all the time. That's why most of my collections get to where they are and then they change, is because I'm just here to show you guys all the fun stuff, and I get to write it off, and then I change collections again. So I consider myself a reviewer. I could give a rat's ass again about the demo stuff. So I don't like Scott Grove's demos. It takes him forever to get to it. No, I don't. I start doing the demos right away unless I, read threat mail. But yeah, I do the reviews. I mean, right off the bat. If I do a demo, some I've never even played on here. I've just talked about them and never played them because I said I would never play them. They've never been played, so why play them? It's a good state for some guitars to be in. So, but today I get to play one. So today's review, as it says above, Buddy Scott, I told some of you, maybe you didn't catch it, but on yesterday's Beverly Hillbillies guitar or bass guitar lesson, I told you I was going to get in a 1982 Ibanez musician bass, the MC924PW. And I love knowing all these things. I don't just look them up beforehand. I get the stuff to kind of read, the exact specs to you, but I already know what everything is just because I know all this crap. And then I have to straighten a couple people out just because they need straightened out. And you know, that's these people online think they're luthiers and use their little tape measures and then gripe about everything when it's actually perfect. They're just not using the systems the way they're supposed to be done, which are amazingly helpful. But they're like, oh, this really sucks. Oh, you know, kind of like when you take the strings off of a Les Paul and the tail, you know, the bridge and the tailpiece fall off, and they're like, well, if you could tape it on first. It's like, I don't want to tape it. Put a couple of set screws in there. That's the way it is with this bass. You know, a particular guy here online was changing the strings and putting new strings on. He's like, well, they just fall right out of there. Look, that's stupid. I said, no, they actually go in kind of at an angle. They go over and they lock in place. You can pick the guitar up by one string and hang it. It won't fall out. Everybody gets really bad on that kind of stuff. But hey, come to somebody that knows something about everything. I'll do the reviews and I'll teach you the right way. Yeah, I think the guy's funny, and y'all think the guy's funny too, but I laugh for different reasons. Okay, so there it is, the headstock. There we go. A lot of you have seen these back in the day. Justin Spicer, hey, he's got one just like it, but in the multicolored wood thing that most people like. 24 big ass frets. There you go, and it's in a finish called Polar White. Now, if you would get a look at one of these on Guitar Center's used guitar stuff, or anything like that, or any of the gonads that are on G-Bass, or possibly even the Reverb.com, those kind of sellers, they'd be like, well, here we got an old Ibanez bass in yellow or gold. It's like, no, that's either just age or tobacco, little nicotine. But yeah, it's got a gold tint to it. It used to be Polar White. That's what the finish is called. It's actually very kind of iridescent, but from white to gold. And there, you should be able to see it. Okay, right here's what I was talking about. Here's where the strings go in. Okay, and for the guy, we'll just call him, I'll do something that rhymes with it, we'll call him Cave. And take off the C and put a D there. But yeah, it goes in through the back, then it goes over and locks it in. So it doesn't just fall out. You have to learn how to use these particular things. So it's actually an amazing bridge system. So whenever you come across that, if you're ever looking for this, I know you'll see that Fix-It episode, but no, there's nothing wrong with that bridge. Actually, it's extremely groovy. Same with so many Ibanez things that were cool back when. Everybody gets these wrong too. It's about the same deal. Okay, most people, 99%, they'll stick them in here and try to run it straight, but it'll actually curve around and do all this weird shit, kind of like what was happening on the other video. But here's what they're supposed to do, and they leave it that way, and they put them on for sale that way. See that? They go down, and then there's a hook underneath there. They hook under there, and they're locked in. Okay, same thing. So if you know your guitars instead of just working on them, you start to learn things, you know. Some people just work on them. I, again, like to research them, like to know everything about them, and that's what I've done my whole life. Yes, I'll play a couple notes later. That will be a short demo. You are watching reviews. That's what my channel is about, reviews. Okay, and every time I go out and get an axe, I always make sure I buy something special for whoever's going to own it later. And usually it's either all the case candy or like this. There's the original. It's in plastic here, but the original thing for the guitar and the bass. There you go. So that's the original print ad, not the magazine ad. The magazine ad would be exactly like it. If you need to stop this and read that, you're more than welcome to. And there you go. There's the model again, just as I told you before. And the guitar, in case you're ever looking for it, which is different, which I'll show you in a second. I'm just looking for back here. There's the model on the guitar. Okay. Now the thing that's going on with this bass that was groovy at the time and in the 70s when they started making them. They made these through the 70s and 80s, but changed the pickups quite a bit. You know, they were all strictly single coil pickups in the 70s. And then this one here has, well, like a P bass, but you got 2 coils, which makes it hum canceling. It's not a humbucker by any stretch of the imagination. It's just hum canceling, just like all the old good Gibson stuff from, oh, like this. Like from our good buddy Bill Lawrence. There's not a setting on here that will make any buzz, even though these are single coils. Everything's hum canceling in every position you can put it in. Same with the S1 guitars and on down the line. So, the thing is, back in the 70s with these, you had companies like Alembic and Moonstone were about the only people that were actually putting out active, you know, guitars, basses, and guitars with active electronics in them. And then Ibanez started doing it, and then have ever since. And then everybody else started catching on, but Ibanez was the one that put it into everybody's hands as far as a price point, you know, that people could actually afford. So there you be. So you got the controls, which people are funny, and Ibanez is funny on this too. Okay, I won't mention our buddy again, but here's what the controls actually are. This here is just a balance between the 2 pickups. So wide open you get this pickup, all the way back this way you get this one. Put it in the middle where there's a notch, you get both. Okay, there you go. It's a balance control. Okay, here's master volume, master tone, while it is in passive mode. That is with the little mini toggle switch up towards you. When I got this, it was going back and forth in different ways, but everything works good now. And thanks again for Scott, who, like I said, I was telling him, or telling everybody about, you know, Ibanez and all the Aria Pros and blah blah blahs and great old West Tones and Electras, and he remembered me specifically talking about this bass, this finish, blah 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 blah, and on down the road he was ready to sell his last week, and you know, those had been posted for I don't know how long, it's 6-7 months, and he just gave me a ring and said, hey, you want to buy it? It's like, send me an invoice. So I did, and here it is. Okay, then you have 3 fixed EQs. The I would actually like it if you could actually go in the back. I looked for that to see if you could actually use like a trim pot and actually change the EQ settings to different frequencies, which you can't, but later on they actually did, because they're kind of odd frequencies, but I would use it for something different. So when you kick it down here, typical stuff, lows, mids, highs, and you got an indent so you can cut or boost, and I'll show you those shortly. Check out the grain pattern, I guess, if you want to do it. Okay, so beautiful thing, nice and clean. I put new poly webs on here, thanks to, well, yeah, these guys. There you go. And thanks to me for being smart enough back in the day to ask them if they were going to quit making poly webs for bass, and when they said, yep, we sure are, then I bought them all. Okay, so it is neck through. It is not a set neck. It goes all the way through here. The ones without the finish, they go all the way through, and you get, you know, 4 or 5 ply going way down. Just the typical, you know, high-end prestige line, if you will. Everything was prestige line back then because they were all from the same flipping place. Okay, here's the thing that I think is cool, and I've always enjoyed this. There's not enough of it to make it extra cool, but you've got gold bridge, you got the gold sure grip knobs from back then, you got the black and silver knobs here for the EQ. I touched that up with a Sharpie. Don't want no weird chipping showing. So I'll look for a new thing there, because I will. I already had a new bridge, new old stock already looking at. I might put it on here, but here's the condition of this one. Yeah, I like to make sure I have parts for everything, then I'll leave the original parts in the case. But, you know, even oxidation like that is not really my thing, but, you know, it happens. It's just time. But I like everything to be cool. There's no such thing as me even liking. I actually kind of yell at people sometimes. It's like, well, it's in really good condition for how old it is for, you know, for a 25-year-old guitar. It's like, no, it's either in good condition or it's not. And, you know, then you look at it and it looks like it's, you know, been played with by a bunch of 4-year-olds out in the sandbox. Anyway, so gold, right there, okay, and gold, and gold, and gold. The sure grip knobs are hard to find that still have the grip, the rubber right here, still intact. So I didn't have to buy any of that. Everything on here is original and intact. Reason I'm mentioning this is back in, still at this time, Ibanez on everything else other than what I have in here would have had those flying V looking strap buttons, but these at the time actually had the Shallers strap locks. Okay, and they are in chrome. And here's the other part that I thought was kind of cool. Gold says musician, but chrome keys, and then a gold Ibanez, here you go, made A82, so that's January of 82. Again, the first letter, and all old Ibanez's will coincide with the alphabet with what month it is. A is January, B is February, C is March, D is April, and on down the line. Next two numbers will give you the year. So A82 is January of 82. Okay, so blah blah blah. Let's see what else was cool and whatever. I love these kind of vintage things. I mean, they are honking. This bass is just, I mean, solid. There's no balsa wood in here. Nothing's routed out. They didn't have pop-open things yet, so there is a battery thing with a screw right there. They just haven't figured out how to make a clip go okay, but that's all metal, and there is actually a little piece of green fabric in there just to keep it from rattling around. Inside here, there you go, let you read this. That's the way they all said it back then. But underneath there's a great big metal plate that the ground is actually going to instead of like the bridge. Very odd, but you'll see that on Dave's World of Fun stuff as well, and that's where the ground is actually hooked to. But then between that and the electronics in there's another piece of green felt to keep that from shorting everything else out, since that big hunk of metal is covering all the internal electronics. So the felt really needs to be there, because sometimes people just don't think things all the way through. So but that's it in a nutshell, and I will actually go down the actual specs for anybody who needs it. Again, full 24 frets, and I'm almost positive 34, you know, inch scale, blah blah blah. And so here from, I don't print them in color, I just keep them here. That's from the 1982. You can get every catalog online if you care to subscribe and pay for it and not steal it. Okay, you can get to some you can get to that people have done it and you can get them for free, but I belong to a place also that you have to, I mean, you get the great scans, and all the ones you can't find online, you can get them if you pay the stupid, you know, couple $5 a year. Okay, so for the MC924 here, and again, the PW is just the color afterwards, the polar white. Okay, you got the body is ash, maple neck, 5-ply. And that's what it looks like if you take the finish off. It's 5-ply, straight down the middle, blah 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 blah, from neck to butt. Again, ash body, wings, and then the maple neck, and then they do a 5-ply thing down the center, through the body. The valve tune B2 tuners, 34-inch scale. The Super P5 and the, I'm sorry, yeah, the P5 and the J5, so a Precision 5. And they're Jazz 5 pickups. Really clever with that stuff back then. Master volume, master tone, I told you that. And 3-band EQ, told you that. And then they call it the pickup balancer. And that's your balance control. Okay. Your sure grip knobs, the controls. They call that balancer your AccuCast B. Okay. Says hardware, chrome. Yeah, your tuners are, but your bridge is gold and brass. And that's it, other than the color. So, there you go. There's the pickups. If you want to stop and read that, you may. High def, we can do that. There's the tuners. You can stop and read about them if you want. You can read about the balancer. Oh no, it's just balanced comfort. It's just heavy comfort is what it is. I'll give you everything that you need to read, and you can just read it. There's the EQ stuff. Here's what I just read to you, the two different. There's the other color, the dark color. Wow, in two ways. And that's not trying to be racist, but. Okay, what else we got? The finishes. Okay, the headstock of the other color of bass, and some other colors of people. And they're not going to the Academy Awards or whatever it is. And they let everybody in. Okay, so that's everything on it. Okay, so that brings us to how much time left for the bass? About 10 minutes. Okay, so I'll get the case. Again, it's a review, people. These are about $300 used on eBay in crappy condition. This is in perfect condition, except for one little thing there, that one. But the other two are there. Okay, so and you go inside, and how you know it's all there, and even the key is in here, and Scott put it in there for me. And the brown always gives it away that it's the correct case. And the infamous green lining from 1982. Okay, so there you go. And check it out over here. Yeah. So that's really nice, and every hinge works, blah, blah, blah. And not just works, but it's just like new. It's like they put the case in a vault and put it away, and yeah, the big thing opens up inside, and I will check to see what stuff actually came with the bass back when, if anything, other than the key, and I'll put it in there and find it somewhere. And the new owner always gets whatever originally came with it, because I like to try to find all the accessories. Okay, I will grab a strap. We'll do a strap on. Okay, this one again. I like this. Somebody used to call me this on YouTube. Fur from the Yeti. That's right, not the abdominal, but the abominable snowman. Some try to say it's an albino Bigfoot, but no, it's the abominable snowman. So there's his pubic hair, because I killed him. Since I wasn't no good at the guitar and couldn't write songs, and it was too ugly for women. So I just went to the Yukon and killed him and shaved off his pubes and made a strap out of it. Okay, so let's put the bass on again, just going through a couple of Hart key heads and bi-amping through these two Ashdown cabinets. So subs down there with the 410s, got the horn shut off, 410s up here with the horn turned on the Ashdown cabinets. They're the good stuff, not the crappy stuff. Okay, now I will actually plug it in and do a little bit of a demo. I mean, yeah, a little bit of an actual demo. But again, it's about reviews, so don't do like the normal person does, which goes in and says, he starts playing at 25 minutes into it. And that's where you'll find it. So just go there, and I always delete people who put that stuff on there, because and doing a review. If you want demos, go elsewhere. That's the way I feel about it. Okay, I'm here to teach. That's what I do. Some people say those who cannot play or cannot do, teach. I'm glad to be able to do both. Okay. There we go. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm just looking at me. Okay, we'll find out about the bass later. Okay, so groovy ass. Okay, so just great sounding bass. Sounds like a bass. And we are in passive mode. Okay, so everything's on, everything's dimed and both pickups are on. Okay, so. I know you're waiting for that. Again, nothing is going through anything other than you're hearing the camera mic. Anything else you hear fluttering or wavering are a couple hundred instruments in here. Okay, so there you go, everything in passive mode. Here is your wild, wacky blender control. So we are on the P pickup here in the middle. Now the J pickup only here in the back. Listen, they are very microphonic. I will fix that, I think. Now I'll leave it original. If I was going to actually just keep this and play it all the time, I would do that. But I don't know. I might keep it forever, but I have to leave it original. At least, unless I get one that's wider and whatever. But I don't see it happening. I got one. I'm cool with it. I like the bass. So jazz bass pickup. Again, the J5, the Jackson 5. This is the P5 for the P Diddy 5. Okay, so they do that. They're like, oh, that sounds horrible. It's like, well, that's why you always have two jazz bass pickups and why a P bass. Sorry, Dave. I'm just giving Dave hell today. I'm always a hater of P basses just because I don't like the mud bass, and then even worse would be the old Gibson EBOs that had the big mud pickup, the mud bucker right here. Like Gene Simmons used to like. But the jazz pickup by itself is just there for lending extra crispness to the muddy P bass sound. So there you got crispy. There you got the woody sounding P bass. Then you add the jazz bass to it. Put it right in the middle with the balancer. Okay, so there you go. Your volume. I had to clean everything when I opened it up, cause I do clean everything when I open it up. So again, deox at D5. Always do it beforehand. Spray it in everything and on everything. The jack was making a lot of noise, so I got in there and sprayed it all inside, and then spray the plug and get in there everywhere and work it, and everything is active, so it would be making all kinds of noise. It makes no noise on anything, or nothing makes noise. Okay, so here's your volume for the whole bass. Very smooth from 0 to 10, which you don't get these days. Okay, tone. just, again, just treble roll off. So you can hear the frequency. It pretty much goes from 10, 10, 10, 10, then 0 at the end. So it does not do like the volume does. So tone knob is either on or off. Okay, that's on 2. From 2 to 10, it's the same thing. Okay, low string, A string, and D string. I do that crap every string just so you can hear it. Some people want to hear it. That's about it. So now I think I got somebody calling, but they're going to have to wait. Let's do this. So I'll shut that. And I will go to the EQ down here, go to active, and put everything in the middle. Everything is in the middle, so nothing will work. I'm going to flip the active switch. Okay, just a couple minutes left. Bass. Out. Back to middle. Same with the mids. Out. Back to the middle. Treble. Out. Back to the middle. So I like to take the mids. Horrible sounding mid. That's why I wanted to get rid of that EQ, particular frequency. But I get to now. I'm going to bring it in. Just where you start to hear it, bring the high end up to about, from 5 in the middle, being boosted up to about 8, and bass about the same thing. So you got that kind of scooped thing, and then I just use this for what some people would refer to as a, funk switch or a slap bass switch instead of just active EQ. But you use it for whatever you want. If you want to use just the active sound all the time, most bass players don't demand a million different tones. But from normal stuff. Right to your Okay, so there you go, 1982 Ibanez musician MC924PW, polar white. There you go, and that's all you get. Hope you enjoyed it. Scott, thanks again for the awesome bass. Major comfort up there, getting all the way to the 24th fret, even if I don't make it sound like it is. Just awesome acts, awesome everything. You guys be groovy, because I am, and y'all be pretty, because I am. And y'all stay alive, because I will. Talk to you later. Bye.